Okay then. Let's see if there's a way to convert this null to a bool as well. Hmm. So I need to write my own converter for that. Okay, might do that real quick. Good to know. Or actually, maybe I can do a style. Who's Oh, there's no one watching, of course. Hmm. I've got this is installed just red box test marker working pretty effectively. Probably add a few converters with this or something. Okay, so here's the nice box marquee. I need to work on that. Why do you say marquee? Box panorama. But what's really nice, of all things, are you? Is this stupid little red box. Notice how it blinks, even when bouncing between things that are both installed. Like this is installed and this is installed, but it blinks on and off. That's because it's updating itself on a different thread. So it's actually gonna be optimized. Um, yeah, it's gonna return. It's either null, true, or false for um, unknown status, not installed, or is installed for Steam games. So I'm thinking if I make a data converter for this to convert it into a value, let's say an opacity value or something, then a theme could have a Steam icon which is translucent for not installed and solid for installed, and blank for, not present at all. Put the C here. Now this here is a, where are you? Buoyant visibility converter. So I guess you probably need an is null converter or something, but right now a theme could do something like show a certain symbol when it's not set, a certain symbol when it is. Actually, now I'm forgetting what it does for something. I gotta check this. Oop, that's a microphone. What happens if I switch too quickly? There's probably not a callback for rapid switching because he didn't want to risk plugins being low efficiency. But I'd appreciate a callback for while the game selection is changing, so I can make the thing just set null hard. Okay, this is installed. Oh, that's installed, so let's scroll quickly. Yeah, see, it just sticks in the last value. I prefer it if it actually didn't. So we'll have to see if there's a hack for that. Actually, maybe. It doesn't help a lot, though. I can check if buttons are pressed, but if I don't know what's going on, if I don't know what's in focus, it doesn't really help me. It would be nice to know if the selection was being changed rapidly, but there's just no callback for that. And if he adds one, people are very likely to use it improperly and cause major slowdown. Oh. I wonder, where do we put this? Hmm. Yeah, there's no good way, unfortunately, in this to hmm, detect that. I'm trying to think what I could do just to make it work. Because the problem is, I don't know that the person's rapidly changing games, so I can't just fade the thing out. What I want to do, as soon as they started changing games rapidly, is fade it out. Although I guess whoever writes the theme can do that somehow. Like they can somehow detect that the currently active game and the current game are two different things, and thus render the unknown state. I'm not entirely sure. Let's look at this object browser. Hello. So I've got a very basic little thing working. Right. Where are you? Oh, wrong view. Right here, I just bound a dummy grid block to my Steam data objects is installed field for visibility. So that's a good start there. But I'm trying to figure out. It technically has three states: true, false, and unknown. But it's only going to show up right now for true the way it's coded, the way this converter works. And I'm trying to figure out. Also, it stays on while you're scrolling through rapidly through different things, and I prefer it if it's switched over to unknown while you're rapidly scrolling. So I'm not sure how to handle that. Hmm. I think I could do like a style binding or something, but I'm not sure how the actual style stuff works in here. Um, WPF uh, resource style trigger. Go Google. Because what I'm thinking is that if I can make this control reasonable, like these values reasonably usable, someone could have in their UI a set of icons or something where it'll have like an icon for Steam, and that icon would either be solid, translucent, or off, or maybe just solid, off, or in the translucent will have like a red question mark or something in it. I don't know. Basically, a status icon showing if it's installed or not, and a status icon showing if it's a Steam game or not, that type of thing. And also, I need to figure out how to actually update certain things. I should probably be able to set a property that makes it automatically hide any Steam game that's not currently installed while still having it in your library. But I'm not sure offhand how to do that without lagging the whole thing up. Yeah, no, that's the big reason why I'm trying to make it so it's just a raw data point. So then you determine how you want to actually use it. Like right now in the code, I'm just using a red box, but it's tied. Can I zoom? Yes, I can. It's tied to the element. Let's see. this. Binding element name Steam data path is installed. Converter boolean to visibility. So that's converting the true false into a visible invisible. But of course, when it sees a null, it also converts that to invisible, so it's not quite perfect. Actually, it seems kind of strange to me why the themes don't, when you're rapidly cycling through games, why they don't fill certain UI elements with like a blurred out unknown picture, like I don't know what this value is because you're moving too quickly, kind of thing. Just seems like it'd be nicer. Okay, so I can apparently create a style up here. Steam installed style. These comments don't actually work. Opacity, maybe? Oh. How do I set this? Let's see. The binding is going to be the same. It's bound on this value. This is installed value. Okay. Setter. Property. Opacity. I'm just completely guessing what I'm doing here. 1.0. That's a complete guess. In fact, it doesn't like it. Property is not. Oh, opacity is not. Oh. Okay, that's unexpected. In the box panorama code. Oh, and this is something everyone needs to start doing in their darn themes. Actually, hold on. This is something everyone should do. Where are you? There it is. Fallback value. So on this solid color brush on this background, I have opacity, binding, background fade, comma, fallback value 0.5. So while I'm in the editor, it's 0.5, but while I'm actually running it, it's using the background fade. And if background fade for some reason was null or something, then it would use the fallback. Yeah. Well, that's just assuming if you use blurring. I don't know how bad the delay is on this stream, by the way. It could be pretty bad. You can tell by when your chat appears on the screen. But forget blurring. It could also be like maybe if the icon, let's say, has different possible values. It could be like, let's say it's the ESRB picture. You would just do an outline with nothing in it, and then when it's known, you put the value that you know, or when it's not set but you know it's not set, you put a question mark or something. Just, you know. I'm just not sure offhand how you'll do it. I mean, I'm going to try to figure it out right now, but I'm not really a theme designer. So for some reason, I can't use opacity directly on the object, but it's part of its background. So somehow I need to set. Oh dear.
WPF setter, um, background, brush, opacity. Restream seems really laggy right now for some reason, so I'm stuck. I think you're extra delayed, or I'm extra delayed, I should say. Oh. Oh. Wasn't that interesting? Well, that's not a big deal. We'll just set it here to no. So I've actually not even looked at that. I should look at that. Let me just close this setter. Because if that works based on like a case switch, basically, that's perfect. Well, provided I can null check, that is. Um, why am I getting an invalid markup error? What is your problem? Um, you know what? We'll just comment that out. Area SRP somewhere around here. Uh, game details view. Rating image. Image to source converted. Oh, that's good to know that exists. Huh. Oh, that's something Big Box actually provided. Okay. So it sounds like Big Box actually has that picture embedded in it, though. Well, Twitch says the delay is 8 seconds, but I'm going through Restream, so there's an additional delay on top of that from Restream taking in my stream and streaming it out again. And it seems to be a lot worse than usual today. Yeah, this is just done through Big Box is actually providing the picture and the resources for you. And you're using an image converter. So unfortunately that won't work well for me here. I wonder what I'm doing wrong with this thing though. Like I know what my do I need target name? They don't need target name. I'm doing something very wrong here. So I actually need to name this Steam install status. Okay, it still is not happy. X is not defined. What? Oh, I do not need the X. Oh, it's lowercase x, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. And it's still not happy. This is really odd. This should be correct. I wish I knew WPF better. For some reason, it doesn't like this. Target name property cannot be set on a style setter. Name Steam install status is not recognized, even though it's right here. Oh, let me shrink that. Ugh. Wheel 2 games view. Oopsie. Oh, that's okay. This is what I was using. Just I know this is not what you were talking about, but just as an interesting point, this is what I was using the binary, the boolean to visibility converter for. So that's interesting that that can be done this way. I'll have to come back to that in a minute. Another rating image again. It seems to almost always be rating image. Although, I think you pointed me over to this, which might be my solution. I was trying to put the data binding... I was trying to make a style up here, but it's looking like it might be better to actually do it down there. Like you have here, like no. Where'd it go? Here. You have an embedded style trigger directly. So let me see if I can get this to work first. And if I can, I can move on to something a bit more sensible. Yeah, the other images are Boolean. It's going to be interesting though. Is there any, or does Big Box or LaunchBox or any of that handle PEGI ratings or any of the other rating systems? It'd be kind of interesting to see the different ratings side by side for a game if they're known. Hmm. So this is the favorite toggle. This is certainly going to make this simpler. Or it could suddenly get very cranky. I've just made a boo-boo somewhere. Nope. Oh, duh. Yeah, I had a lot of database related entries in Bitbucket's bug tracker, and a lot of them were marked as on hold because of certain changes they're making. So they are working on it. But there's a lot they need to do. I haven't even suggested this one yet, but they need to look at grouping games. So yeah, if a game has different sub games or something, they should be able to be separate entries, but then also be grouped together for the sake of the human presentation of the database. Okay, it's still throwing a fit. It's complaining about things which I've already removed. That's hilarious. Oh, it thinks it works now. We'll have to see what happens. Yeah, one of my suggestions, which was at least considered interesting, was I said that we should create or we should increase the amount of information on the publisher developer entries, and then allow multiple names for that publisher and developer, so that they can all be linked together. And if a publisher or developer is gotten rid of, completely die off, they're liquidated or something, um, especially if they're bought by another company, we should have a marker that says that this developer or publisher is now part of this other company, and maybe even the year it happened. Okay, so that's working now without the converter. So now we'll see if I can get it to do something fancier than just on off. That stupid little red square right there only shows when the game's installed. Oh, by the way, this is an actual. I don't know if you saw this originally. This is a blurred, inverted cube that is rotating, spoofing the Minecraft thing. So that's fun. Okay. So let's see. This piece of code here. Is there a null check? Hmm. Yeah, which is why in the data that downloads to Big Box and LaunchBox, the actual download data would have all of that aggregated to whatever the primary name for the given developer or publisher is. So every entry might have a different way to say the name, but when you actually have the data in the database, both on the website when it's searchable, and also the actual downloaded data would be simplified to just the most common name. Ah, I have
I have a random video control, and I have a uh, cubic panorama control, which I stole the textures out of Minecraft for. So the cube panorama is pretty simple right now. It's hard coded to the Minecraft one, but the plan is to make it so that it's able to be set for depending on what game or platform you're on, and then try to clean up the code a bit so it doesn't error out if a texture is missing. But yeah, I've got that going. Because my hope is that I can figure out how to take all the Minecraft mod packs there are and figure out how to bypass their launchers, kind of like tell their launcher to launch directly into a mod pack. Because if I can do that, I can add different mod packs to my LaunchBox uh, Minecraft list. And then you go into the Minecraft series and they'd all be there. But it would, once we have series and playlist, or I should say playlist specific and platform specific themes, you can do really fancy stuff. Okay, so I can't set background directly in an easy way. I need to do this because it's a complex object. And it still is not happy. Value is missing. Value is right here. What is your problem? Oh, this is odd. It's huh. Ah, that's what I need, right? Yes, there. Yeah, there we go. Goofy, goofy WPF. Okay, so let's see. What should I test this with? Um, we'll do green for if it's installed, red for if it's not installed, and blue we're gonna try to do for if it's not Steam related. Let's see if that works. Oh, that's an idea. I could certainly try. Um, with Steam, some of the data, or some of the things I have interfaces with to modify the client, but they could break at any time. But I also have backups where I can edit the files that Steam itself uses, but then Steam can't be open when that actual edit is taking place if I edit the file. So it's kind of a catch-22 between if the interface works or not. Let's see if it crashes. Red? Not present. Oh, did I screw something up? Yeah, I never unbound visibility. Whoops. Yeah, there's no reason why I can't mirror the favorites in one direction or the other, provided Steam doesn't change from out from under me.
I'm also thinking it might be a good idea to add some options like hide all uninstalled Steam games or something like that, or maybe add a custom field to all Steam games that are installed or something. Because then playlists could refer to that field. Yeah. Well, the fun thing is, if certain interfaces are still working for me, they don't have to close it, but oh, it's not showing. What have I done wrong now? Why is this not showing up? Search the visual tree. There it is. Live property editor. Visibility collapsed. Why? You're supposed to be visible. Let's just force you visible. There we go. It's not changing. Hmm. Wonder if the issue is this null check here or what? Because I could change this into an enum between unknown, installed, and uninstalled or something. Oh, collapsed and hidden are different things? That's interesting. Uh. Hmm. We'll comment out this one in case it's breaking it and see what happens. One thing I really need to get in here is my Steam game importer, which is a lot better than any of the other ones. Because I asked the Steam client's cache file for a list of all app IDs it knows, and then I asked the Steam API in a function that's safe to call, that's not going to break, if each one of those things is installed or not, or owned or not, and it's actually able to do that. And I also wrote some logic that's able to look up mods in your mod folders and figure out what mod you have installed. Okay. These games are not installed, and the box is still red. Oh, what? Oh, I... Son of a... The default style overrides the dynamic style. I just read that like 30 minutes ago on a Stack Overflow entry. Yeah, I'm not really a theme designer. I'm more of a component maker, so I'd love to like help get certain components working. Now we wait.
Okay. Oh, green, red. Okay, that's a good start. Now we have to see if the null check will work, which my guess is it won't, but we'll see. Yes. The system, in fact, the system might actually catch free-to-play games as owned if they've ever been installed. Even if you took them back out again. If they've been installed once, it might catch them. Because I think Steam might recognize that. I'm not sure, actually. I have to check. Free-to-play games might only register if they're installed, or they might always register. So that might require some extra logic. Um, okay, so now the null check is on. If it's blue, that means it doesn't know yet. So this is going to be interesting. Because it should turn blue for a split second on these items. Okay, what do we got? Nah, it doesn't understand the null check. Let's check here. I'm not liking the fact that it's not responding anymore. Okay. Oh, no, it's here. It must have just been really busy. Yeah, it's not showing up at all. It should be blue right now. Hmm. So, these two worked. But this one didn't. WPF check value is null. Okay, it's talking about using value converters and stuff. So, what if I change this to unknown installed and uninstalled, and then I come over to Steam, public enum Steam game install status, uh, unknown installed uninstalled. Change this from a nullable bool. Oh, actually, I have one more thing to check. I never noticed that mistake. In the right view, right? No, I'm not. I'm on the wrong view somehow. There's so many views in this thing. Okay, here we are. I should have known, because this is the one I put my fallback value of 0.5 opacity on the fade brush, which is why everything's kind of faded out but present. So let's try this real quick. I just made a mistake. I don't have this set to auto compile, so I gotta compile it. Build. Okay, go. I'm tempted to look at the hyperspin themes, and I've never used hyperspin before, but I'm tempted to look at the themes and see if I can make a plugin that can process the themes. Just because God knows it might be possible. That's blue. Oh, look at that. It's blue while it doesn't know, and it's red if it's uninstalled and green if it's installed. That little blue period is because I'm running it in a thread in the background, so that if for some reason the Steam interface is slow, the UI won't lock up. Yeah, I'm sure parsing the XML files won't be difficult. It's writing the engine. Now, I mean, if they were open source, I could very easily port the code, but oh God, is it really Flash? That's horrifying. Okay. So Now I need to see if there's a reasonable way to make it turn blue when I'm scrolling quickly. Oh god, that's horrible. No wonder people are leaving that program. Holy shit. Okay. So my last thought is, let's look at the views. Where are you? Where were the views? Maybe it was in Big Box? Yes, here it is. Okay, these are the view models for each view. Horizontal wheel 1. Horizontal wheel 1. Oh, it doesn't show anything. That's... Oh, because it's based on this one. So, yeah, this one doesn't have any properties because it's literally just an adapter of this one. So here's all the properties. Selected game. And... Ugh. I remember when he was implementing the thing to try to deal with while a game was when it started, like when it was on a game for a couple moments and when it was just rapidly changing, and I can't remember what the different values were, even though I'm the one who suggested the name for it in the stream. um Active game. Active game. And game. I don't see game here, but I guess game's in the next one up. So if active game equals game, that means that we're not scrolling very quick. We're not rapidly scrolling, and if active game does not equal game, that means we are. That's probably a quick hack. The question is, how do I use that in here? How do I? Is there a complex math I can use? Let's see. WPF set value. I probably need to write a custom converter. Set value if properties equal. Oh, actually, it's probably DOI. I can probably just bind both of these. No, it doesn't like that. Oh, it cannot be. Oh, it's selected game. Yeah, because what I'm thinking is that when selected game and active game are not equal, that means that you must be currently scrolling. So I could use that as a hack to detect that you're actively scrolling. But I don't see an easy way to do the comparison. Unless there's a comparison converter. WPF setter when two properties are equal. Comparing two dynamic values in a data trigger. A multi-binding converter. I was expecting that. MVVM pattern. add it to the view. We can't do that. Now we can't do that. So it's gonna have to be a multi-binding converter. Let's see. Data trigger binding. Okay. Oh, well, that's a screw up. Data trigger dot binding, which is what gives us the ability to override the attribute with something local. Oh. Okay. That was terrifying. That didn't capture on the stream, but I just had a random exception. Okay. Oops. I selected too much. Okay. Well, that's an old error, because that's been fixed. But this is not a thing. Local I equality converter. What is... Oh, it doesn't exist. I need to create it. Let's build that now. Where would I build this? I know you can put code inside themes, but I've never figured out how to do that. But the plugin system just kind of got around that problem because you can just put your code in the plugins. I guess I'll put it in Milk One controls. Quality converter. Yes, I'm stealing this from Stack Overflow. Okay. I'm gonna build Milk One controls to update the XAML. Okay, this becomes One quality converter. Okay. I've done stupid things. Hold on. There we are. So now, if both the items are the same, it's going to be blue. We don't want that. We want different. So let's do a inequality converter. Come over to the equality converter. Make it inequality converter. And literally reverse this. Return true. Return inverse inequality converter. That might have actually been overkill because there might have been something else I could use. But this thing, it doesn't appear to be invertible. So let's see what happens. Let's see if I've done this in a way that works. Rebuild controls. And go. If this works, the box will be blue while changing items rapidly, no matter what it used to be. Where before it would stick with its current, with whatever it last was until you were done, and then it would switch back to what you would expect. Um, that said, this might block off the other converters. I don't know. The other values. I have to find out. If we're lucky, it only if it's true. It's blue. That one's red. And moving quickly. And it's not working. I'm trying to find an item without a trailer to stop on.
Get ready for the new app.
Good God, they all have movies. Okay. Just gotta put a breakpoint. In the inequality converter. Okay. Two different games. Values 0. Okay, what's the ID? Huh. Well, that's odd. It's being a bit aggressive. Oh, okay. The heck? Oh, I think I crashed Big Box.
I'm trying to figure out why it's not working. Okay, what do we got? They're the same. Means it'll spit out false. Yeah. Okay. Not the same. Means it should be blue. I need to make this not break here and actually print something instead or something. Console.writeLine. And go. Oh, stop. Okay. There's my output window. That's output there. And go. With any luck, oh, it won't build now. Oh. Okay. I guess I need to add a DLL. Oh, it's there. Okay, browse. It's either library or the other one. It's in Unbroken LaunchBox. And this fun. Okay, there we go. Now build. Okay, with any luck, this thing will output into my terminal window or terminal output catch. Here, the status is. Oops. I hit the corner of my screen. There we go. Okay, let's see what we get.
It does not appear to be firing.
Deep below an age-old tavern. For
Okay, we're in the... Hey, baby.
mission 1. Start.
So it's not outputting. Great. Oh, that's not going to cooperate, it appears. I thought for sure that would work. Even my attempts to make it output text didn't work. Nope, up to date. We'll set this to a custom color of purple. Okay, let's try it again.
show must. This weekend, take a vacation to the Lakeview Cabin Collection. Taking some sun as you elect.
You know what? I never did the basic thing of checking to make sure there wasn't a field that just tells me this already. Huh. This is odd. It's almost as if it's just not firing. Yeah, I'm not sure why this is going on. These things should be different. Or the same, or something. Like it's not even firing.
Unless these things go in a different order. WPF XAML data. Oh, I'm an idiot, aren't I? I bet I son of a. I think I just realized what I was doing wrong. Yep. I put the trigger first. All the other triggers are overriding it. Every single other one. If I put it last, then it will override all of those. There almost needs to be an opposite order with an early cancel feature, though. Because that's got to be too much work. Unless the thing's intelligent. So go back to the inequality converter. We will compile everything again, just to be safe. But I betcha. Now it'll be purple when I'm scrolling. Oh dear, what have I done? Oh, they're null. Hmm. That's a good sign. It's a very good sign. Um. Oh, that means that the code's highly optimized. That means that the code is picking the last setter that can actually have an effect and checking it. It's probably working backwards until it hits the one that actually has an effect. Which means this was being optimized out in any case what it wouldn't have worked. Okay. Okay. Where's my quality compare? This is excellent, actually, because this means it's probably working. Okay, please be purple. Come on. It's not purple. You son of a... That should have worked. That really should have worked. Why didn't that work? Now I'm bothered. Unless I'm missing a part. I never indicated what value I was testing it against. I was just assuming that true and false would work. Well, holy shit. Look at that. It's, okay, let me switch to something.
Get ready for
Okay, so it's purple when it's, when you're scrolling too fast for it to know. It's blue when it doesn't know yet. It's red if it's uninstalled in Steam. And it's green if it's installed in Steam. Purple. Red. Purple. Blue for a second, red. Purple. Red, let's see.
My name's Larry.
It's working. Oh, that looks weird. We have, we have 4 states essentially now. Scrolling, not set yet, set. And then if we exit Steam, because it's a Steam specific thing, it should just be purple and blue. Yep, purple and blue. Purple and blue. Perfect. uh,
war. War.
yep. That actually means I can get rid of my inequality converter too. I don't need it. What I'll do... Should I use the database ideology, or should I use the, programming ideology. Database ideology says that null means unknown. It could be true or false, you don't know. And the programming ideology means that null is invalid and should be ignored completely. Like, if I went the database way, I would be using values.where. I'd be using a query of only the incoming values that are not null, so you could pass it 10 things, but if only some of them were true, or some of them were not null, it would drop all the ones that weren't null. Query.length becomes query.count. Query. This doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. But if we do unknown, then we have a situation where if there's less than 2 values being checked, then you say false, they're not equal, because there's only one value. If there's if any of the values being checked are null, then you return false because you can't know. And then finally, actually, you know what? Why don't I just do both? As 2 different classes. Hold on. Okay, let's see. Equality converter skip null. There's actually this one. And now finally, it's only checking the first item versus all the others. What we should do is say if values dot the way I have it right now, no, but if I make it so that it inserts a custom field, then for anyone who has premium, or is it called premium, whatever it's called, the one with big bucks, then yes, provided that it actually refreshed that value. I could try, if it's laggy, I could just make it a menu option. If it's not laggy, I can make it so that on startup it tries to refresh the installed value of any Steam game. And I do it out of band, obviously, on a thread. Okay. Um... So the skip null evaluator. Let me finish with this. The skip null evaluator removes all nulls and then processes the information left in the list. The one that doesn't skip nulls, if there's any nulls, it just throws them out. Or it just says that it can't compare. It says unequal because it doesn't know.
Okay. For any values where it doesn't equal the first one, so if any of them don't equal the first one, that's true. Then invert. Yes. Okay, I think that's that. Yeah, I have 5,000 games on my Steam account, so oof, I get the idea. Okay, now I'll come over to XAML here. I'll switch to the equality converter, but I will check for a false. If I've done this right now, I've simplified the code, given more options, and it should still perform the same. Oh dear, it's late. You have no idea. I've actually skipped some. It's not like I've bought... Indie Gala is a terrifying place, by the way. Purple. Okay. Blue. Red. Purple. Blue, red. I'm not sure why it's
Windmill
switching to
Games
red
presents.
before... Ah, that's an interesting annoyance. I'm not sure how to solve that one. So what's happening is when I'm scrolling, it's purple because it doesn't know what, you know, because the active game and the selected game aren't the same. As soon as I stop, for a split second, it's still checking the old data. And then it tells it, oh, you've selected this game, and it then turns blue because it doesn't know yet, and then it turns red or green because it knows. So for a split second between purple and blue, there's a chance for it to stay red or green. That's interesting.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long
That's
time.
probably not an issue, that little flicker there. Like, the fact that it goes purple, red, blue, and then the color you want, red or green, or purple, blue, red, or, you know, there's a split second possible, but I think it's fine.
Rated M for mature.
You know what other fancy thing you could do a logic like this? You could start a timer, and while the timer is, while it's purple, or while this check is set, the timer's counting up until a certain value, and as it's counting up, it's increasing like a motion blur or something on the edges of, let's say, the selector here. So the longer you hold that, the blurrier it gets up until maximum.
What?
Just to throw that idea out there. Let's actually go to something I have installed. And they're green. Yep.
Peggy 18.
Yeah, here you can see the flicker where it goes purple green, blue green. So that's a little annoying. I can't think of any possible way to prevent that. The only thing I can think is to put some sort of time delay on um, on that, which honestly a fade transition or any sort of transition would probably deal with it. So I guess that's fine. Hmm. So I think I should probably stop streaming now, but I'll just sum up what I've succeeded with so far. I've managed to encapsulate my Steam logic so that, yeah, my proxy program, which you need to talk to my Steam API, starts when this program starts, when LaunchBox or BigBox starts, and closes when you go to close them. Also, if BigBox or LaunchBox crashes, it loses the connection to my little program, and my little program, after 1 second of not having anything connected to it, closes itself. So my Steam interface is working. I need to clean it up a little bit so it has timeouts in both directions, so neither program can get frozen, but that's good. I've I've encapsulated the some basic Steam information into a control, which you just drop on your Steam thing. Here it is right here. Steam Tools, Big Box Theme Element Plugin. I should give it a better name. But basically, you just stick this in your UI, preferably outside of a grid and on a canvas or something, so it doesn't steal a position. I tried making it a resource, but it appears that the way Jason implemented it, the interface for the plugin only triggers if it's actually inserted into the UI. So you stick this little dummy in your UI, and then through this dummy, because you name it, you can access its properties. And we've got properties like finding element name, Steam data path is installed. And there we go. Null, true, false. We have our little quality check down there. Yeah. So we've got all that. And we also managed to create this equality converter situation where this, if you have the equality converter, then you can convert any or you can use this logic that we're using to turn the thing purple when you're scrolling. Then that true false, that logic would become available. All you need to have is that equality converter class in a plugin, and you'd be able to write this XAML and it would work. So I'd say that's pretty good progress for one night. Night. At some point, I'm going to implement a a UI module selector of some kind, because right now, the big box element plugin just completely it sucks up these controls, and that's obviously rather suboptimal. What I'm thinking is that what I'm thinking is that I can make a wrapper around this where in your XAML you build a series of connections. You say this control is above this one, this control is to the left of this one, and then you'd be able to navigate the controls, the different controls in the UI using that. And then when you'd hit enter on a control, it would enter the control, and then the control would be responsible for handling an exit of the control. And this would just be like a little API thing that someone who's building a theme could take this and they could wrap various controls around this so that you could actually navigate around a screen. I also need to look at the possibility of implementing a custom game selector. where instead of having like the current selectors, maybe a custom implement a grid selector. Like you set its width and its height, what direction it scrolls infinitely, and then you can just scroll through it and select things instead of using one of the wheels or something. I don't know if I can do that. That one's a little bit more complicated and probably requires a lot of code. But it's possible. Um, yeah. For now, I'm gonna obviously keep focusing on the Steam stuff. Um, I'll create some menu options to be able to mass do things, update stuff. I'll probably end up creating a menu or a dialogue or something where settings are, so you can enable like update install statuses on startup and stuff. Copy favorites from Steam, something like that. And overall, I'm basically trying to replace the Steam front end because, once you've replaced all your front ends and you have one thing, it's a lot easier. Oh, I also have to consider what to do if you have games that are on multiple platforms. Like, let's say you have a GOG and a Steam copy of the same game. I think I might just keep them separate for now because I have this custom. I have Steam as a platform, but in the future, I'm not sure what the best scenario is for that. Like with ROMs, you would just do additional apps and add them as alternate ROMs. But with full-on games like this, I'm not sure. I think I might have to specifically consider them separate platforms, but make sure I implement a function that alerts you to the fact that you have a game on another platform. Technically, it's the same game, especially with something like Steam. Well, I bet some people would just, exclude that particular game from their list if they preferred the DRM-free copy. I don't know. Oh well. That's Yeah, I think that's enough for tonight, like I said. If you have any suggestions, you can feel free to either send them to me on Discord or if you want to PM me on the forums or something. I'm the same name everywhere whenever I can be, so you can find me. But I think we're in a good place here. Oh, here's one more question for you, and this is actually more likely to affect you as a theme creator. Right now, I have my panorama cube, random video control, and this new equality converter that we're using to detect that we're scrolling. I have all three of those things in a single module. Oh, that's because I don't notice these things. Hold on. Friends. Oh wow, 4 pending. I had to remember to look in here. This is what I get. Okay, there we go. Yeah, you can now you can just DM me on Discord. Um, oh yes, the question I was asking: should I isolate some of these things into their own DLLs, or should I just keep the various controls that I'm writing in the same DLL? Um, it shouldn't be an issue, so long as they're all theme modules for WPF. If I keep them all in the DLL, it won't be a collision problem because even if you have version 1 and another theme is version 2, since each theme has its own plugin folder, they won't collide. Um, that's what I'm thinking. Or should I split out the DLL into a different DLL for each type, like each control? Or should I do maybe split up DLLs? Like this DLL is all the fancy background things. This DLL is all the fancy math and equality and comparison stuff. How should I break that up? Given that a theme creator is going to have to take my DLLs and put them in their plugin folder. Hmm. I mean, for right now, I'm just going to be keeping them all together, but I've already have. You need Neok 1 tools to have the equality converter. Oh, that's true. Yeah, they won't get very big unless they have textures inside of them, and images inside of them. And honestly, I'm gonna try to avoid that. The most I might have is like pictures that'll show up in the editor, if I can figure out how to do that. Because I was trying to figure out how to make my random video control say random video control and have a little picture of like a play icon and have a gradient on it, but I failed repeatedly. Yeah, now that I think about it, the DLs won't be very big at all because they'll mostly be code. Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to close this down. Let's see. You have me on Discord, so now you can DM me whatever suggestions you have. And yeah, true, very true. Oh, the sad thing is, it can't be purely one DLO in many cases because you're gonna love this. Just to outline this, Steam Tools uses um. Okay, it's not in this window, but Steam Tools uses something called Carbine Steam Context Wrapper, which itself uses either Carbine Steam Context or Carbine Steam Context Server, and then the server uses the Carbine Steam Context. So that's two DLLs and an EXE for the Steam interface on top of the Steam Tools DLL, which is the actual plugin. But Steam is a doozy, so you kind of got to deal with that, I guess. The 3D panorama actually uses some external DLLs as well. Helix Toolkit, Windows Presentation Framework, and Helix Toolkit. But I might, if the source code allows it, pull out the few pieces of those I'm using and embed them inside my code because they're a bit like there's so much stuff in there not using, and I think I had to edit their source code anyway to make it more stable because right now it crashes if it can't find the panorama pictures. So I'm either gonna have to pre-check the panorama pictures or I'm gonna have to write some error handling. Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'm gonna end this now. So thank you very much for your input, and like I said, feel free to DM me anything else.